victims of a horrible crime and a tragedy lost their lives before their lives basically got started. So a very tragic act. I have to prove to you to a reasonable certainty by the greater weight of the credible evidence that he had the mental illness and he lacked substantial ability to conform his conduct to requirements of law. And when he's with Cecilia, something happens. He doesn't recall what happens, doesn't know why it happened. All he recalls is he's choking the little one, Cecilia. Next thing he recalls, there's a lot of blood. Girls' throats are cut. He's having, he describes it as if it's in kind of a dream. So he sees things happening. He sees himself pouring gas. In his mind, he's thinking of suicide. They take him into the police station in River Falls. They sit him in a room and they interview him for about 3.5 hours. He asks him what happened. Aaron basically says, I don't know what happened. I don't know why it happened. I don't know how it happened. I don't know anything. The officer says, well, where are you going to go? So Aaron says, where would I go? Dr. Baker was hired by the court. Dr. Knudsen was hired by the state. I retained Dr. Reed Malloy. Dr. Baker found that he was not NGI. Dr. Knudsen, the state's doctor, evaluated him and found he was not NGI. And Dr. Malloy, he did his evaluation and he found he was NGI, that he was not responsible by reason of mental defect or disease at the time.
The evidence will show you that these crimes were premeditated. Premeditation simply means thinking about it in advance. He thought about it in advance. He thought about murdering his daughters for months before he finally did it. He talked with family and coworkers about what he was going to do. He fantasized about it for months. The evidence will show that he is not legally insane. He's just mean to a degree that's almost inconceivable for the rest of us. This is not about guilt. He's already been found guilty. It is about his mental condition at the time of the crimes and whether his mental condition at the time of the crimes excuses him from responsibility under the legal standard. That's the issue. No history of psychosis, not bipolar, not schizophrenic, no history of delusions, no command hallucinations, basically a normal guy, depressed, but who drank too much. You'll hear evidence that Dr. Malloy's theory is pretty far out there. It's not scientific, it's just an opinion. It's a theory on the part of Dr. Malloy that can't be verified. He agrees there's no psychosis. He agreed there were no hallucinations or delusions. And he agreed, Dr. Malloy, their expert, agreed that he knew right from wrong. He does not lack capacity to understand right from wrong or to conform his conduct. That's what Dr. Baker will tell you. And the state's doctor, we also hired an expert, Dr. Eric Knudsen, and he concluded in an exhaustive report, 98 pages, that the defendant did not lack substantial capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness of his conduct and did not lack the capacity to conform his conduct to the requirements of law. In other words, he is responsible.